You're low level, you're weak, and you're broke. All you basically want to do is hit some mobs like some mushrooms, but you have no money for MapleStory's most basic item. Potions. Who would have thought that playing Old School MapleStory, your biggest issue was going to be potions? So today I'm going to be teaching you how I got to level 37 in Old School MapleStory and made huge profits along the way. And as you can see, I'm doing this PowerPoint presentation style because I literally want to teach you step by step and break it down to make it really simple for you, so that way you can get the strategy of how to make huge profits like I have right here. And I have my teacher's assistant right here ready to go in case I need some help. And I just want you to know that all of my Meso income came from farming mobs. No quests, no PQs, this is just pure grinding. And so if you want to avoid quests or party quests, this is basically the hidden strategy of how you can do it. So first, let's address your potion issue, then I'll give you the maps I trained in going to level 35. So to get started, let's talk about your first job training skill. So as an assassin, mine is Lucky 7. Lucky 7, basically you throw 2 throwing stars at the mobs and you hit the mob. Pretty simple. Every class has a skill like this. So if you're a magician, you get Magic Claw, and basically the same concept will apply as I'm explaining it right now. So when I use this skill, Lucky 7, I consume 16 MP, so minus 16 MP. That's very important. And each time you use your main mobbing skill, whether that's Lucky 7, whether that's Magic Claw, whatever class you are, I want you to think of it like this, because this is really important. You are consuming Meso every time you use it. You may not think about it, but I want you to start associating your usage with Meso, okay? So to make this a little bit concrete, let me give you an example. So a blue potion gives you 100 MP for each use, right? Pretty basic. You get blue potions from hunting mobs, you get blue potions from the NPC shop, and these are going to be your main source of mana in the early game. So with 100 MP that I get from the blue potion, I can use Lucky 7 6 times, because 100 divided by 16 MP, that's basically 6.25, I believe. And so that means you can get 6 full usages of Lucky 7 or whatever your main mobbing skill is within 100 MP, okay? So each blue potion costs 200 Mesos in the NPC shop. All right, so yeah, are you starting to see how this is starting to equate? Skill usage equals Meso, technically. Thus, for every 6 casts of Lucky 7, I am using 200 Meso. That's a lot of Meso for us early game folks, right? I remember struggling for 200 Meso and trying to get potions, one by one in the NPC shops. So ideally, with this in mind, in those 6 casts of Lucky 7, I make more than 200 Meso, otherwise I'm going into profit loss, and I don't want that to happen. So let's say the mobs that I'm farming at drop 50 Mesos each, okay? Let's go into a concrete example. Assuming each mob I kill always drops Meso, I'll have to kill 4 mobs to earn enough Meso for 1 blue potion. If I one-shot the mobs, that means I use 4 casts of Lucky 7 to earn that 200 Meso for the blue potion. But what if I two-shot the mobs? Well, if I two-shot the mobs, then in that case, that means 8 casts of Lucky 7 are needed, and that takes you into a profit loss. Kind of scary if you are two-shotting or three-shotting mobs. Now, do you see how your skill usage is directly related to your Meso income, especially early in the game, because you are struggling for potions and you are going to be struggling if you are 2 or 3-shotting the mobs and you're not making a big profit. So this scenario I just described to you is important for you to understand, so that way you can become conscious of how these very, very small things matter in the early game. A lot of people are struggling, I see in the game, with their potions and their Mesos, and they're asking in the chat, how do I make Meso? How do I get potions? But this scenario that I'm describing, even though it's very important for you to understand, it's not perfect, because there are some other factors that make this situation more complicated, right? So mana potions, to make things more complicated, aren't the only potions that you need. You also need Meso for HP potions. Otherwise, you're just going to be out in the training fields and you're going to keep dying, you're going to keep losing EXP, and then you're going to quit the game, okay? So in essence, every hit you take is also a hit to your Meso income. So that makes things a little bit more complicated. Not only do you have to allocate resources for your blue potions, but now you have to allocate resources for your red potions. Plus, to make things even worse, Meso dropping from mobs isn't a guarantee for each kill. Let's say for every 2 mobs that you hit, only 1 Meso pouch drops. I mean, that's pretty scary as well. But to make things a little bit better, on the bright side, mobs also drop other things. It's not that they only drop Meso, right? So ETC drops can be sold in the NPC shops for a small amount of Meso. So as you can see here, I have wooden boards that I've been farming, and I can sell these for a good amount of Meso. These can pay for basically my mana potions. Also, equip drops can be NPC'd for big amounts of Meso. So if you get an item that you don't want to use, like a wand if you're a thief, or you get a claw if you're a magician, vice versa. Basically, you can sell those items in the NPC shop because they're not very valuable and you wouldn't want to sell those in the auction house. And lower level items can give you like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Mesos, but once you start farming higher level mobs, like this one can probably give me over 10,000 Meso, which is pretty good. And to make things even better, rare drops like scrolls can be sold in the auction house for a huge amount of Meso. If you get lucky with a scroll drop, ideally you can sell them in the auction house. So taking all of this into consideration, here are my guidelines to becoming an early game rich bench. All right. So the most Meso efficient way to play is, number one, only settle for 1 or 2 shotting mobs. If you can one shot your way all the way up to level 30, that's going to make your Meso income very, very efficient. But if you can 2-shot mobs but still sustain your potion usage and make a little bit of profit, that's also good as well. I see people in my training maps like 5, maybe 10 shotting the mobs because they think they're at the right map. But little do they know they're going to run out of Meso and they're going to run out of potions, and then they're not going to be able to train anymore. So you really, really want to only settle for 1 or 2 shotting mobs. Number 2, obviously pick up everything you see in Old School MapleStory. It's so valuable. In the server that we have right now, Artel, you basically just walk over the item and it auto loots it for you. But if an old school server ever comes up in the future that, you know, is on MapleStory Worlds, just same concepts apply. Pick up everything you see, and then once you pick up everything you see, sell everything. Sell the items, sell the ETC items, sell the equips, sell the scrolls in the auction house, whatever you need to do, okay? So now you're probably wondering, well, Jose, where did you train? So my training guide will probably go against what most people will suggest, because as I said, I see people being suggested, oh, go to wild boars, but then they're like 4 or 5 shotting the boars. It's not really Meso efficient. So I actually suggest going to mobs that are way, way lower than you, because remember, I want Meso. I ain't trying to be a broke binge, okay? So at level 10, I went to Kerning City construction site, and this was basically just because I was a thief and I didn't want to spend Meso on the taxi, so I just went to the best map that was around me. But you can go to Hennessy's hunting ground because there are a lot of low-level mobs. You can farm in a party, but I went to Kerning City construction site. This map has lots of low-level mobs like mushrooms, snails, and stumps that should be very easy for you to one-shot or 2-shot and then pick up the Meso. But once I was strong enough to 2-shot the octopus mobs up on top, I trained there. So on that same map, there are the octopus mobs on the top, and it's pretty cool because there's a safe spot that you can hit the mobs from. So that's pretty awesome. But when I could one-shot the octopus, I went to the Hidden Street octopus map, which you can access all the way at the top of the Kerning City construction site map, and this is going to be a map filled with octopus, and I went there when I can one-shot because I could easily clear the map. And I liked that map because it has lots of mobs and it has safe spots to hit from. Plus, this is something that a lot of people do not think about in Old School MapleStory that is really, really important. Plus, the mobs travel fast, so they are likely to travel to you, right? This saves you time and makes your mobbing more efficient, because if you think about it, if you're in a map full of slow mobs like stumps, you have to walk to because they take so long to cross across the map that you're going to be wasting more time to get your mob kills. But if you can farm at mobs that travel really, really fast, the likelihood that they're going to travel to you quickly is very, very high. So that's why I like the octopus. And then I basically stayed at the octopus mobs until about level 23, even though that's not suggested by what people are saying in the training guides and all these suggestions. I stayed there because I was making lots of Meso, I was making profit, and I could sustain my potion usage, okay? Then I moved to the bubblings in the Kerning City subway. Like the octopus mobs, bubblings move very fast, and there's also a lot of mob spawn in that map. Since they move very fast, like I said, you're going to be very likely to kill them quickly. And even though they give about the same EXP as Octopus, they drop more high value drops. So for example, number 1, Fish Spear. They sell well in the auction house, or they can be NPC'd for 20k. Because here's something that you also have to take into consideration as you're farming for item drops, as you are choosing your class even, that the most popular classes right now are Spearman, Cleric, and Assassin. So if you can revolve your economy around that, you're gonna do very, very well. And so since Spearman is such a popular class right now, Fish Spear is selling pretty well because they can use those items. And number 2, like I said, since Cleric is very popular, it's probably the most popular class in the game right now. Scroll for Cape for Int, 100%, this sells for 50k plus in the auction house. I mean, these prices may vary by the time you're watching these videos, but as you can see, it's very efficient for me to train at the Bubblians because they drop something for Spearman and now Cleric. And Bandit, it's kind of a popular class, but they also drop Scroll for Dagger for attack 10%, which sells for 30k in the auction house. So that's pretty good. So I stayed at Bubblians until level 31. That's like not what people are suggesting at all, but it has the qualities that I like in a map. It has a lot of mob spawn. I can one-shot the mobs at that point, and the mobs travel very quickly, so I can kill very quickly, so my kill rate is very high, and they also drop so many valuable things. So once I was ready to transition from that map, I moved to Wild Boars in Parion, but truth be told, I trained there for a bit, but I didn't like that they didn't drop many valuable items. They did drop weighted earrings a couple times, but I was like, I don't really need these. So I moved to wooden and rocky masks because they drop high value scrolls like Cape Intelligence, Earring Intelligence, and Spear Attack. Again, I'm kind of revolving where I'm training at in terms of what the economy and the popular classes are looking like. And so if I can get a scroll that drops like Cape Intelligence or Earring Intelligence, I know that I'm going to make huge profits in addition to the Meso that I'm farming from the mobs directly. So this increases the likelihood that I'm going to make lots and lots of Meso. So I'm going to be staying here until level 40, farming Mesos, Scrolls, and EXP. And even though I am over leveled for these mobs and people are going to start suggesting, oh, you should go to Fireboars now, I'm not going to listen to them because this map allows me to gather huge amounts of resources. You don't want to go for just EXP, especially in the early game, because resources are important in the long run, even if it makes your grind slower. So if you follow these easy guidelines, you'll have all the potions you will ever need in Old School MapleStory. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm having so much fun on this Old School server. I haven't been playing the regular MapleStory, but this has been satisfying that itch for me for just missing video games. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments.